Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you again for being here today. We're so proud of our third Altos here at Alta Vita. So, learn how to succeed in the mid-stay market. Easy question, right? Let's see. Where are we today as an industry? Where are we? 52% of corporates report an increased usage of service apartment since the pandemic. And as an industry, we are seeing in the pipeline up to 50% increase of supply in construction. The pandemic appears to have been less severe to the service apartment sector. However, adapting the business model has been critical. So, joining me to dive deeper into the topic are two very successful hospitality operators of Alta Vita. Please join me to welcome Kieran McCarthy and Melania Tova. So just to give you those two point of view, those two different perspectives. Kieran McCarthy is our Global Sales Director at Stacity Group. Stacity is one of the European fastest growing APA hotels. They operate over 5,500 apartments across 32 properties, right?
Yes.
Yes, 15, I'm right. And over 15 European cities. Melania is Regional Manager, England,
Yes.
for Altido. Altido is one of the largest short-term rental management companies in Europe, managing a portfolio of over 2,000 properties and rooms,
Yes.
right? So across 4 countries and over 20 cities. So here we would like to learn how those two successful operators manage to survive, shall I say, this pandemic. So again, the audience, if you have any question, please raise your hand and we'll bring you a micro. All right, guys, your turn.
Yeah, let's start.
How did you adapt? How did you adjust with the new habits of our corporate travelers, really? Because we know the habits have changed since the past month, and it has been quite probably critical for some of us. Maybe, Melania, let's start.
Yeah, let's start. So thank you, Laura, Kieran, and everyone. Thank you for having us here on behalf of Altido. Yeah, it's a very good topic to discuss. And of course, it's not a secret for everyone here in the room that our industry has been one of the most impacted by COVID. So for us as Altido, as an operator, even before thinking about adapting, it was more about reacting because we were like caught on that. So it was more about making sure how we keep our teams, how we support our teams, and how we reshape and build the mission and the purpose of the organization from now on. So after that, it came the adaptability, and I have a few good examples, 3 main examples of how we achieved that, or what we are still working on that. So the first that we have, it's how we adapt one of our projects, multi-units in Edinburgh, in Scotland, where we have these massive units of buildings that we adapt all the amenities to make sure that our guests, corporate guests, and every kind of guest, having like a pleasant state, and not only that, but they could feel like home, but also have a good environment to perform and to do their jobs. So a few things that we did, of course, was making sure that they have the obvious one, high-speed internet, that is a must. Then that they have the proper desk and environment to spaces inside the houses, the flats, to work with. And then really like, not a difficult one, but that we realize, oh, okay, people are very into this, is the fact to have kitchens or kitchenettes to cook. So for us, even though that these buildings has a common area where people could work and relax and lounge, we were really clever on the way that we designed these units inside and work with designers to make and include and incorporate a really small but smart kitchenette. So even if it's a studio or like a one bedroom, people could even have their meetings there, but cook and go ahead with their normal life. So that was it's a great example of what we did from like traditional properties to adapt for the corporate travels. But not only that, we also develop and launch a guest portal. So all of our guests and the traveler could book through this guest portal on-demand services. So while they were staying with us, or even before staying with us, they could request in-stay cleaning, which they are very, very popular. And we could even go further, more personalized, even if they wanted to have, I don't know, like in-stay cleaning without a change of linen, just a refresh, we could provide that, or a full service. Then we have a fridge fill, so we can make grocery shopping for them so they could find everything when they arrive or even during their stay, and many, many other services such as transfer, even massages, everything that they need. And the third one that is very dear to us and that we are very proud is that we recently opened and launched our first co-working space in Milano, in one of the premium areas in Milan. So what is interesting about this project is that it not only became our main headquarters in Europe as a company, as a group, but it's also welcoming travelers from all over the world and citizens in Milano to work from them. So we built this amazing co-working space with premium amenities to welcome all the people and work from there. So I think these three are a good example of how we are trying to adapt to these new travelers' habits.
Very interesting. Thank you, Melania. Kieran?
Similar to Melania, so I've been with Stay City for 14 years, and the company I joined was a very leisure-driven company. And over the years, as we've grown, we've really wanted to focus on the corporate side. We want to go down that road and be corporate. So whether it was good timing or bad timing, we in fact opened 10 properties during the pandemic. Those properties were designed and geared much towards the corporate market anyway, so that made my life a lot easier. But then, obviously, those properties were in design years before, and the landscape's changed since then, as we all know. So the needs of the corporate traveller, particularly the mid-stay to extended stay traveller, because of work from home, the guest is spending a lot more time in the apartment. So things have changed. It's no longer acceptable to have a dining table as a desk. So short term, we provide desks on request for our long stay guests. We're providing additional hanging space because now guests are staying less frequently but longer, so they're bringing more clothes with them. So, and then we're actually in the process of retrofitting all the 10 new properties that we've just built, and also the existing properties to cater for our long stay guests. Furthermore, no one wants to sit in a room if they're working from home 2 days a week, in the office 3 days a week. Nobody wants to sit in a room all day. So we are now going back. We're looking at our public areas to make them more co-working friendly. So putting more sockets in there, changing the table. So from a coffee table to a table that works for both, really, if you're sat on a laptop working in the day. Again, that co-working area, we're quite fortunate that a lot of our properties have bars, cafes, communal areas. So again, we're listening to what our corporate travellers are wanting, and there's the social side. So while we focus on the product, we're not just a bed. So then there's the whole well-being piece now, which is a big focus moving on from the pandemic. So we've started, a lot of the new properties have gyms. We also do weekly running clubs, which the team get involved with as well, which again brings that community together. They'll do, I think they've got yoga classes and things like that in some of the properties where we can do it. So it's the whole piece around the experience, really. As it was mentioned earlier, we're not just a bed, it's the whole experience. And the key to that's our people as well, and really having them looking after our guests and giving them that whole complete experience.
Thank you. So we can all agree, no matter which type, shall I say, of property provider you are, we all had to make changes. My next question will be, obviously, for the past 2 years, shall I say, what would you say has been your biggest challenges?
Shall I go first this time?
Yeah, for sure.
So probably like a lot of people in the room, staffing has been a challenge. So we'd kind of, not that we'd predicted this was going to happen, but we've been looking at Team's been a real focus for us prior to the pandemic, really, and we've been looking at how we can improve. We looked at starting to bring in core values. We're not there yet. We're still working on that, but we're moving in the right direction. So probably about 12 months ago, we appointed a head of operational effectiveness, and that was a guy that actually used to work for me when I was in operations as GM. He had many years experience in operations as GM for Premier Inn hotels, and then he'd been with Stay City for about 3 or 4 years before we moved him into this new role. And this role's been key, really. So his role has been to go through all our departments, so starting with housekeeping, starting with reception. So looking at, we know that we're struggling to staff, and hospitality is one of the toughest industries and probably not one of the best paid, probably one of the worst paid industries as well. So we look at our key people. So you look at housekeeping, it's a thankless task. They've probably got the hardest job in our industry, and they're the least well paid. So on the back of the pandemic, you've got to think, well, why would someone want to come in and do housekeeping? So we're really looking at how we can make that job as easy as possible. So what Lloyd's his name, is come in. We had a process of cleaning the room, which is the cleaning wheel. So it's the most efficient way to clean a room. Now, I'm no good at cleaning. So it's like going in and then you'll put in your chemicals in the toilet, but that's got to sit. So straight, that's the first thing. But while that's then working, you'll go in, and it's the whole process of what you clean and how you clean it. And then it's also not just that, it's then looking at the tools, because it's all about, a tool. If you've got it's giving them the right tools, it makes the job so much easier. So it's trying to make what is a thankless task a bit easier for them. And then same with reception. One of the things with reception in my time within hospitality, there's so much admin, there's so many manual processes. So what we're doing there to take away from that stress from the front desk is removing as much of that manual process as possible and automating it where we can. And then what that does is it frees up the team's time to spend with your guest, to really show an interest on why they're here, what is it they want to do, tell them about the area if they're not from the area. And that's been key. And then, again, that's much more enjoyable. Anyone who's in hospitality, it's about people. You don't want to be sat behind a desk. So we've removed desks in a lot of places, so they're actually out there. You're not stood behind a desk. You're not sat looking at a screen. You're out there. So we've took a lot of that process away, which has been good. And then furthermore, in the last couple of months, we've just recruited a chief people officer. And she's came in from Microsoft, which is great because she's been like a breath of fresh air, coming from a massive company like that, bringing in best practices, reviewing everything we're doing. And obviously, we're moving in the right direction, but she's just coming in with that experience, again, looking at our core values, and again, really investing in our team, because it's all about people. And come back to well-being and really looking at, there are internal guests, so as important as it is to make our guests happy, it's equally important to make our team happy. So if they're not happy, how can we expect them to make our guests happy? So that's kind of what we're working around, the staffing piece. It's not easy. It's a constant battle, but hopefully if we can make our company and Stay City a better place to work, then it makes it all that little bit easier.
Thank you, Kieran. Melania?
Well said. I think I echo everything that Kieran just said. And for us, well, many challenges with the COVID crisis, but I think the main one that is very common for all of us here is short of staffing, and especially in the areas, operation teams, that is where we suffer the most. So we have a great example of one of the challenges that we face this year, particularly. And it's related to the Ukrainian crisis, when we have this project in Dublin that is a pop-up hotel. So when the Ukrainian crisis started, we saw a lot of like a massive influx of refugees coming to Dublin, which of course led to the supply to be short supplied and like the accommodation sector being fully booked. So what we did is that we opened around 300 bedrooms to buildings of pop-up hotels to help to cover that demand. But then our biggest challenge was how we operate this. And it's not because we don't have the knowledge, because it's bread and butter for us, but it's just like, how do we find the right people to operate these and still not affect the service for our guests and our clients? So at the end, we managed in such short time to sort it out, but the pain and what we had to do was, of course, paying premium rates, premium hourly rates, overpaying staff, and for sure optimizing our internal resources and team to be able to send them there to support these kind of operations. Yeah.
Get a question?
Sorry.
Yeah, as you see these costs increasing because of needing to bring in talent, crucially, how is that cost assumed? Is it then affecting your overall ADR?
Yeah, sure. Well, it depends, like the demand for us, the ADR is a very important topic because we are seeing an increasing and it's been like really, really great. But in terms of cost, of course, affect us a lot. And at the end, it ended, as much as we want to provide the best service and reduce cost, it ended up affecting also our clients and our guests because we have to increase our rates, cleaning fees, and all that. So yeah, it's really tricky to handle. Yeah.
To be fair, hello. Oh, there you go. To be fair, this is something that I specifically wanted to raise. That's why I asked that question, because there is this misalignment. I don't think that there is that awareness necessarily to many corporates still that these are real challenges that are really affecting the rate, right? And then there's still this expectation that the ADRs and the budgets are proceeding pandemic rates. So thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
Another question, sorry.
Ukrainian refugees in Dublin that will help you with your ADRs and provide people with employment.
Sorry, can you
Any plans? You said that obviously you are experiencing shortage of staff, partially because there are many Ukrainian refugees who are actually looking for work. So any plans to actually recruit some of those Ukrainian refugees to help you with ADRs and provide them with employment? Yeah,
for sure. We are a very inclusive company. Actually, our company is mainly built by people from all over the world. So yeah, we are very welcoming, and we have many, projects to support different, industries and resources. Yeah, for sure. If that answered the question.
Thank you. So 2023 just around the corner. Yes, I'm afraid already. As is Christmas. So my lovely panelists, may I ask you what's on your wish list for next year?
You want me? Yeah. Okay, so, well, I have to say that we've been very blessed. 2022 has been a really, really great year for us as a company, I guess for many of the fellow companies here as well and the industry. So our biggest hope for 2023 is that these trends continue, that we receive a lot of demand, that we keep up with the high ADRs, that we can work within the industry to be more sustainable. And also, one of our main focus will be, for sure, growth. And it's in two ways. And what we are thinking is not only, or what we are planning and going to do, is expand to new regions, locations, but not, let's say, just for the sake of growth and go to this destination or this location, but just to make sure that we can open and we can develop our business and all our business models. So for example, for us in England, of course, London is our main city, but our plans for 2023 will be to open Birmingham, where we'll see that we can have our different verticals working really well, having corporate travelers there, but also short-term stays there, maybe, like co-living buildings as well. So this is the kind of things that, plans that we have for 2023. And also keep growing in different business models that we are launching in different regions, such as PVS8, student accommodations, and co-living spaces for sure.
Great, sounds great.
And just to echo that really, I suppose on the wish list would be if demand can continue into 2023 as we've seen this year. As a company, people keep asking me, what are you predicting next year is going to be like? And I think everyone knows it's so uncertain. I think everyone's waiting for it to all go horribly wrong, and we focus on the bad instead of just enjoying it while it's good. And we're looking at, so for Q1, we're pacing ahead of Q1 this year, which is really encouraging. We are cautiously optimistic, I think is probably the word we're looking at really for next year. We think that leisure's probably going to be hit, so the leisure market's going to be hit with cost of living crisis. People will be focusing more on that summer holiday will be the important getaway for them, and maybe less the city breaks. But while we're seeing and hearing about redundancies with some of the big corporates, we are hearing positive news as well, with travel budgets actually being increased with some companies. And I think next year, the war on talent, I think I've heard a few times now, companies are recruiting. So we expect to see a lot of that recruitment business, that mobility business, relocation, graduate programs and things like that next year. So yeah, I think we're cautiously optimistic, but definitely positive at the moment for next year. But again, I think I was at an event yesterday, and it was mentioned that the market is strong but fragile. So that just kind of stuck with me. I thought it was a really good way of summing it up. So again, it's just a case of, if anything, the last couple of years has taught us is none of us know what's going to happen. So we've just got to be ready, as we have been as an industry, for change. And then it's how quickly we react to that really, which makes the difference.
Thank you so much. May I please ask you to thank my lovely panelists for this end of session. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kiran. Thank you, Melania.